Masters. We are go. The car's found out. He's given the squeeze. Look at this, side by side. Pulling out right in front. And really good close racing. Wonderful stuff. Welcome back to the Hockenheimring. 102,000 spectators have been witnessing sensational racing this weekend. And now they are about to witness the season closer for the ADAC GT Masters, the 19th season of the longest running GT3 championship in the world. The League of Super Sports Cars is about to get going for race 12 of a 12-race season. Yesterday, we saw a championship signed and sealed. It was a win for Dennis Buildup and Nico Handke in the race. It was a championship for Salman Ovega and Finn Wiebelhaus. They had the championship sewn up and secured with one race remaining. They've also sewn up the Silver Cup. We saw Haupt Racing, Team HRT, seal the team championship. We saw Finn Wiebelhaus secure the road to DTM. We saw Alex Vack and Alexander Schwarzer secure the Pro-Am Cup. It means that today, the gloves are off. They're racing for the silverware. It's going to be fast and ferocious, and it's the brand new Pro-Am champion. I say brand new for this year because they've successfully defended Alex Vack and Alexander Schwarzer. As Alex Vack, who put the car on pole position in qualifying this morning, his first ever pole position in ADAC GT Masters. The first time we've ever had a Pro-Am pairing car on pole position in this series. What a way to finish the season off. So it was yesterday, as already mentioned, Dennis Buildup and Nico Handke came home for the win. It was Simon Birch and Leo Pickler who crossed the line in second place, and in so doing, jumped in front of Leighton Furry and Tim Zimmerman in the championship. Furry and Zimmerman had a fairly horrendous day yesterday and will be very happy to extinguish that from their memories. There's no championships to be fought for, although there are still positions, and Leighton Furry and Tim Zimmerman would very much like to relieve Leo Pickler and Simon Birch of that second place in the championship, and they're in a good place to do it because they start on the front row alongside Alex Vack. Yesterday's winner, Nico Handke, is behind with Salman Ovega, the new champion. He's won a championship previously a couple of years ago in the ADAC GT Masters, but he's now the new champion of this year, and he starts alongside Nico Handke on the second row. And of course, with yesterday's win, Nico Handke will have an extra 20 kilos of success ballast on board. He did not have that for qualifying this morning, so he may find the pace a little bit lacking compared to what he had earlier. Simon Birch and Leo Pickler finishing second yesterday, and with Pickler at the wheel further back down the grid, he has an extra 10 kilos on board as a result of that second place yesterday. And our pole sitter, Alex Vack, will have an additional 5 kilos on board. So what they had in qualifying, not quite the same as what they have for the race, but it's all set for a thrilling conclusion to this 2025 season. My name is Brian Oliver. I'm up in race control. No, I'm not. I'm up in the commentary box. I'd like to be in race control. Overlooking the pits at the moment. I have an emotional Chris Hartley alongside me because we've just witnessed a DTM championship that was settled on the last corner. We're not going to have such luxury in the GT Masters, but we get a race half as good as that. We're in for a treat this afternoon, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final round of the season for the GT Masters Championship here at a dry Hockenheim. It's the best the weather's been for about 2 days now. And yeah, the championship might be decided in terms of the drivers and the road to DTM and the Pro-Am and the Silver Cup and the teams, but second place in the championship is still important. They're going to battle for that. But also just to go out on a high and have fun. And sometimes, you know, these races where the championship's already been decided, it's the last day at school for the season, can be epic, can't they?
Yeah, let's hope the spare parts department have got plenty of stock. So as the cars start on their formation lap, we've already got news of next year's calendar. We'll bring you that a little bit later on as the cars start on their formation lap. And for the first time ever in GT Masters, a Pro-Am car will lead the way on the first of 2 formation laps, because temperatures are a little bit low, 30 degrees centigrade, and it has been a little bit wet. During the weekend, we're having an extra formation lap just to generate the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. The clock will start after the first formation lap, and Alex Fack will be the driver that will lead them across the line with Leighton Fury alongside him on row 1 of this grid. Yesterday's winner, Nico Handke, will line up next with Salman Vega, the new champion for company, on row 2 of the grid. And then Salman Vega's sister car, Jonathan Chicotto, lines up in 5th with Moritz Verskirchen alongside. It's Mercedes versus Ford Mustang on row 3 of the grid. Juliana Holzem, one half of the Holzem twins, has Eduardo Cositeng for company, and Eduardo will be looking for a better day after a really difficult time yesterday. Finn Zulauf lines up on row 5. Alain Valente for company there in the Landa Motorsport Audi. On row 6, Leo Pickler has John Paul Southern. Great to have him back on the grid this weekend in GT Masters. And then on row 7, Emil Yerdrum, and a torrid qualifying for Max Rice in the 3rd of the HRT Mustangs lines up at the back of the pack. But yes, with nothing to play for, particularly in the way of points, then the drivers, they just want to take a trophy home, don't they?
Absolutely, and you know, it's been a reward for the support that they've had as well from family, friends, sponsors, from the teams as well, to just go out on a high. And having battled for the championship really most of the way through the season, Tim Zimmerman and Leighton Fury, they're going to want to at least try and get to the runner-up spot, the vice-champion spot, after a really difficult Red Bull Ring, an even more difficult day yesterday when they had some damage in the opening lap to the rear bumper, which was hanging off that orange FK Performance BMW. And then because that was slowing the car up, then there was more contact at the Sachs curve, and that involved the eventual champions of Salman Vega and Finn Wiebelhaus, who's behind the wheel of the car, making contact with the back right corner of the BMW, puncture into the pits. They lost a lap in the pits and then tried their luck with nothing to lose at all to try and gain a massive disadvantage back by throwing on slick tyres, and it paid off in the end, but only right at the end of the race where they were flying. But just a pretty horrible way to go out yesterday. So after that, those disappointments, 2 tricky races at Spielberg and 1 yesterday, they want to go out on a high. And actually, Leighton Fury, he qualified 2nd there in that BMW. It was only 71 thousandths of a second away from pole position. It was really close. It was very tight throughout the top 12 in qualifying, just a few tenths between the lot of them in qualifying this morning. So it bodes well, I think, for a really good final race of the season.
Yes, I think we're hopefully in for a very entertaining hour of racing ahead of us. The hour has started now because we're on the 2nd formation lap. It's been a historic season. We've had more endurance races this year. We've had 6 endurance races. This is the 6th sprint race. It's the year that we saw a Pro-Am pairing take the first ever overall win in the ADAC GT Masters. They did that at the Nürburgring, in a good position to do it again here. And it is the first season where we've seen a Ford Mustang take wins and a championship in the ADAC GT Masters. So really, really exciting stuff in the GT Masters. The series very much reinventing itself in the last couple of years, returning to its roots, created as a platform for amateur drivers to battle alongside emerging talents, and that's what we've been seeing. I think Alex Fack might be trying quite hard to get the heat into those tyres, because he wants to be sure, as they head around turn 11 towards turn 12, that when they eventually make it to turn 1 at racing speed, that he's got something with which to grip and something with which to stop that Porsche. Leighton Fury, distinctly grumpy after yesterday's race, will be very, very eager to end his season on a high, to carry some momentum through the winter with a win. And I think Leighton Fury will be sparing nobody as he tries to get to the top step of the podium. It's going to be a little under 60 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. There's a mandatory stop and driver change to come in this race. It's going to be the final race of the season. ADAC GT Masters 2025, the 13th time the GT Masters finale has been here at the Hockenheimring, and we are getting ready to receive those 5 green lights ahead of us for the very last time this season. ADAC GT Masters is go, and Alex Vack stepping off that pole position, beating Leighton Furry quite easily into turn 1, but all hell is breaking loose out behind Salman Vega alongside Nico Hanke. Every driver knows that bunched up like this is a great opportunity to make up places, but already the first 2 actually breaking clear of the fight for 3rd and 4th, and then a big gaggle of cars all fighting through. Moritz Viskursen was looking very useful in that Mercedes earlier. Max Rice, after the rubbish qualifying, well, he's taken to the grass to try and get past there. He certainly made plans to move forward, and he's already made up several places. He's going to go sweet abreast into the hairpin further back, but for the lead, Leighton Furry with a little look on the inside of Alex Vack, doesn't make it stick, but so many drivers pushing. But look at Max Rice in the red and white Mustang further back, fighting hard, pushing his way forwards. Everybody fighting for those positions. Jonathan Chicotto has the number 11 car, number 10 car, Eduardo Kozateng for company, and Kozateng gets that position. So a good start for Kozateng, not a great start for Jonathan Chicotto.
Yeah, perfect start though for Alex Vack and Pro-Am pairing. They'll get a minimum pit stop time, which is 15 seconds shorter than all the non-Pro-Ams. So if he can get up the road, get his head down, what he doesn't want is any kind of safety cars to stem his progress in this race. Stretch away as far as he can and give his teammate, the ever-improving Alex Schwarzer, a chance to try and get some silverware, get a podium like they got yesterday, or maybe even to win the race. So perfect start, he goes over the line. He's 0.6 of a second clear of Leighton Furry in the BMW. Nico Hanke just ahead of Salman Vega as they go through shot. Good start for Kozateng, the Filipino, up to 5th place. Johnny Chicotto still right with him in 6th. You're on board with the driver that's right behind Chicotto in 7th, Giuliano Holsam. Viskursen down to 8th place. Max Rice from the back of the field, having not really done a proper lap in qualifying this morning due to the dramas. He's 9th now, and Alan Valente rounds out the top 10.
So what can Leighton Furry do about Alex Vack? You see him picking up a slipstream as they head along the Parabolica, and also Jonathan Chicotto trying to come back. Eduardo Kozateng, BMW versus Mustang. A corner here that is taken absolutely flat out. Turns 4 and 5, then into the hairpin. The heavy braking. Giuliano Holsam to the inside as well. So Holsam pushing forwards, but there's a lot of fighting for position here. Jonathan Chicotto was in that 6th place. He had that relieved. Now he's being mugged by Yanis Fitcher as well as Giuliano Holsam. Holsam has broken clear. Yanis Fitcher on the outside into turn 8 in the background. Max Rice, who appears to be taking no prisoners as he tries to move forwards. But a lot of fighting close together further back. But at the front, the lead duo have broken a 2.5 clear of Nico Hanke. In fact, I think they've stretched that even more now. So Nico Hanke, with all that weight on board, has the new champion Salman Vega, who would love to round off a great weekend with a podium.
Yeah, won the title yesterday with a 9th place finish. Not how they wanted to do it, but the car has had a bit of a BOP change overnight. It looks like it's come alive a bit now, the Ford Mustang, and they're running pretty well in 4th place. So the gap over the line, 0.46 of a second. The last lap, the quickest driver on the track was the driver in 3rd place, Nico Hanke, in the Audi with a 1:39.011, but he was only 56 thousandths of a second quicker than Leighton Furry ahead of him. Leighton did a 1:39.0. 1:39.2 though for Alex Vack, which means the gap from 1st to 2nd came down a little bit. There's battles all the way down through the field here, right the way down to the final position on track. And that was Emil Jerdrum with a good move, switching one way then the other to get 13th place away from Finn Zulav.
Yes, Emil Jerdrum, another of the Pro-Am drivers who will have that shorter pit stop. So making a move on Finn Zulav nice and early. That's a good move for him in the Exler, Liquimoli Team Exler car. You can see that our race leader is Alex Vack, but you can also see that Leighton Furry is challenging him hard. You've also seen Finn Zulav missing his braking point. I wonder if he's struggling a bit with that Lamborghini, the Power Motorsport Lamborghini. You see him just swerving from side to side, and is it possible that he's got an issue with tyre pressure, because the car doesn't look to be particularly level, or indeed he's struggling to keep it on the track. So I'm wondering if maybe he's got a slow puncture or an issue there. So it's starting to look that way, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You see, he hit the brakes and just went away from him, snapped away from him. He ended up going down the grass, didn't he, and trying to get the car slowed down on the grass, which probably still a bit damp from the rain that we had earlier, and the overnight rain and the big torrential downpour yesterday that happened in the middle of the day. So looks like a difficult car to drive. On board with Leighton Fury in second place, the South African at the circuit where he made his European, his German racing debut at the end of the 2022 BMW M2 Cup season. Made an immediate impression with a podium, went on to win the BMW M2 Cup in his first full season, GT4 last year, where he was a front runner, finished in fourth place. First season of GT3, trying to be second in the championship, trying to be first in the race. He was good on the brakes there, wasn't he, on the way into the Nord Curve, and especially on the way into turn 2. But the Porsche just getting away now through the Parabolica as they get up to around about 260 kilometres an hour. It's about 160 miles an hour through there, down to just 90 kilometres an hour as they're about to slam on the brakes down into the Spitzkehrer. These two, if they start to fight each other, you know, third and fourth are not that far behind. Hanke and Vega could still get involved in this battle for the lead.
And in the previous lap, Simon Vega was the quickest in Sector 2. And if you're going to be quickest in any sector, Sector 2 is the one to do it on, because it's quite a lot bigger than Sectors 1 and 3. So Simon Vega keeping them within reach. At the moment, for a lap or two, it looked like Leighton Fury was about to launch a challenge, but then the latter part of this lap, he's dropped back again, maybe just saving it, and then going to have another go as they head out of 17 along the pit straight, where the BMW seems to be especially strong. But there you go, first, second, a little bit of a gap to third and fourth, and then this battle here. Eduardo Kozateng with Giuliano Holzem breathing down his exhaust pipe. I should think Jonathan Cecotto will be a bit grumpy about having been shuffled down the order, so he'll be looking to elevate himself forwards from that 7th place. Maurice Viscursion is a little way back in the number 21 car that he shares with Janis Fitcher. Out of turn 17, out along the pit straight we come once again. And then toward turns 1 and 2, here's Cecotto. Little look to the inside, Giuliano Holzem. Just showing himself in the mirror, maybe just trying to distract him, but not really making a move at the moment. Into turn 2, it's on the exit of 2. He's going to get an opportunity. If he has a pace advantage, he may be able to duck out from behind that BMW, maybe pick up a slipstream along the Parabolica and make his move. This is the opportunity to do that. Eduardo Kozateng well clear at the moment. Giuliano Holzem, though, looks to have this kind of covered off. Cecotto heads up towards the hairpin, shows himself to the inside. Under braking, and Holzem's got it wrong under braking. He's gone very deep into the corner. That's allowed Cecotto to move to the inside, then the drag race out of the hairpin towards turn 7 and then to turn 8, the left-hander. So the inside line will have the advantage into the left-hander, but Holzem is far enough ahead to have it covered off. And in fact, it's closed in on Eduardo Kozateng.
Cool shot that, looking back at the nose of the Mustang. Great debut season for the Mustang in GT Masters, and for HRT Hat Racing, who've run those Mustangs, having long-term been involved with Mercedes. They've taken the team's title, they've taken the Drivers' Championship as well, and done an excellent job, but it's not best suited to this circuit. It's got plenty of grunt, and it seems to be happiest in the middle sector of the lap, the really fast stretches of circuit around this 4.5 kilometres of Hockenheim, but it's a bit of a handful through the tighter, twistier arena section at the end through the Motordrome. The Porsche, a good all-round package, continues to lead the race. Alex Fag is with a 0.6 of a second lead, but he's going to have this much shorter pit stop to come. Leighton Fury is about a second clear of Nico Hanke, and then Salman Vega there in 4th place. Salman started his GT Masters career in an Audi, then won his championship title in a Mercedes. And I asked him yesterday, has it been difficult, or have you had to change anything with your driving style to adapt to the Mustang? And he said, actually, the biggest change was to go from the Audi to the Mercedes. Not so much of a change from the Mercedes to the Mustang, but what we found, and the team principal, Lily Fritz, has said this to me, is that with the Mustang, the harder you push it, the less it responds. He said, so you have to be quite subtle with the way you're driving it. You can't be over-aggressive. And Vega, with all of his experience, now a double champion, is getting the most from that car. 4th place, though, he is falling away from Nico Hanke's Audi.
It is a steep learning curve for the entire team as they get to grips with that car. On the previous lap, Salman Vega was the quickest of anybody in Sector 2. Nico Handke in Sector 1. So lots of drivers putting in bests of anybody as we see Juliana Holzem, Jonathan Chicotto behind, Eduardo Kozateng being relegated by Juliana Holzem. So Holzem up into 5th place.
Good move that. Spotted half a gap, went for it, and it was a good, clean move. So one BMW passes another and then gets his head down now, tries to pull away. And then behind them, you've got the Mustang of Chicotto. Get a replay with what it looked like on board with Juliano Holzem. Just hanging onto it through that right-hander. It is really a handful, and sent one down the inside.
Yes,
would have been so easy, wouldn't it, to outbrake himself there, but he did a really good job on the way into that left-hander at turn 8.
That's a great opportunity, isn't it, into turn 8. A bit of a dive bomb up the inside. As you see, you've got to get it right, otherwise you're going to go spearing off into the runoff area and potentially take your competitor with you. Alex Fack has been into the runoff area on turn 11, has been shown a black and white flag for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So that's a warning. We've had several track limit warnings as well. We've got one for Salmon O. Vega. We've got one for Moritz Viskursen. We've had one for Finn Zulauf. And we've had one for Max Rice, who's now up to 9th place, but it just feels like that's about as far as he's going for the time being, but he's still got plenty of time left to move forwards. Here's your race leader at the moment, despite a lot of pressure from Leighton Fury. Holding on to that lead, Alex Fack in front, Nico Handke in 3rd place. He has the fastest lap of the race that he set the last time around. So Handke, clearly the man with pace, despite that success ballast that he is carrying.
Yeah, spoke to Nico yesterday as well, and he was sort of bemoaning the fact that it had been a really disappointing season. They wanted to go for the championship this year, but he had that massive crash at Salzburg and missed out on both races. Had some bad luck elsewhere as well, but 2 wins from the last 2 weekends of racing, including that victory yesterday. It's been a really strong end to the season for him and his teammate Denis Borisov. Looking further back, Finn Zulauf up to 13th, back ahead of Emil Yerdrum, and his pace is good now, so the car looks okay, that Pal Lamborghini, 139.5. He's quicker than the half-dozen drivers in front of him, and he's only a couple of tenths of a second off the pace per lap of the race leader, Alex Fack.
So I wonder what happened at the beginning of the race. You say he's managed to get past Emil Yerdrum, so clearly whatever was wrong, he's got on top of it. Look how close Leighton Fury is to Alex Fack coming into turn 2. It's where he seems to be able to close in on the Porsche in front of him. He's going to be tucked up here onto the Parabolica now. Is he closer? He may be closer than he's been for a couple of laps previous, but is he close enough to make a challenge? Picking up something of a slipstream as they're heading towards the hairpin. He has a little look to the inside, dive bomb into the hairpin. Can he get it slowed down? Alex Fack just switches back to the inside, says, I'll have that back, thank you very much. But it's a drag race in towards turn 7, taken flat out. Fury with the grunt of the BMW. He's going to have the inside line into turn 8. If he can get it slowed down, we're going to have a new race leader. He can't quite get it slowed down. Fack coming back up the inside, but Fury just about getting the door shut, getting the job done, getting to the lead of the race. But all of that fighting has allowed 3rd place Nico Handke to close in as well. So suddenly, Alex Fack is no longer fighting the BMW. He's got an Audi that's going to start monstering him.
That's some move, wasn't it, from Leighton Fury? Just really braved it around the outside at turn 7. It was a longer route around the corner. In theory, less grip around there. And if there's any kind of contact, you'll always be the one that comes off worst on the outside. You'll be the one that's sent off into the gravel trap. It's so brave, but he knew if he could stay there, then he'd get that inside line for the left-hander at turn 8. And it was beautifully done, and in fairness, Alex Fack gave him the room. Get a replay of this now. Just supreme confidence here, just holding on to it to get through, and diving up then around they went, and this was the one. He had that go at the hairpin, then he has a go again and dives down through the inside. It was the bit before that really set up the move, that run through turn 7. Where he just slingshotted really around the outside. He's got past, he knows he's going to have a much longer pit stop than Alex Fack, but he obviously felt like he was being held up a bit. I noticed a couple of times here, Brian, down at the hairpin, into the corner they're about the same, but through the apex of the corner, the middle of the corner, the BMW was quite a bit quicker than that Porsche, and that was meaning they had to wait to get on the throttle to get onto the gas coming out of the Spitzkehrer. So I think he was pretty keen to get past that Porsche because he felt like he was being held up.
And what immense skill from Leighton Fury, the South African driver who wishes to emulate Kelvin and Sheldon van der Linde, Jordan Pepper, his fellow countrymen, leading the way here in the ADAC GT Masters in the number 11 car. He's had 2 wins already with Tim Zimmermann this year, one at Zandvoort and one in the endurance race at the Salzburg-Ring, now leading the way here at the Hockenheimring. Alex Fack, I just think he's playing a very wise game here. As you mentioned, when the pit window opens, I get a feeling he's going to go quite late in the 10-minute window before he makes his stop. But his stop, along with Emil Jerdrum's, is going to be 15 seconds shorter than those around him, on account of the fact they are a Pro-Am pairing. So all cars, with the exception of the 2 Pro-Ams, will have a minimum pit stop time of 85 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. The white lines at the beginning and the end of the pits. But the 2 Pro-Am cars, the FAC Autotech Porsche and also the Liquimoli Team Exler Lamborghini, will have a minimum pit stop time of 70 seconds. So 15 seconds advantage. And FAC knows, you sweep the front end off fighting for the lead, you ain't going to be on the track to take advantage of that 15-second shorter pit stop. As we look at Leo Pickler in the number 14 car, still fighting for the podium in the championship. So in second place at the moment, having relegated Leighton Fury and Tim Zimmermann yesterday, but with Leighton Fury and Tim Zimmermann in the position that they are in at the moment, courtesy of Leighton Fury, well, to the inside of Alan Valente, so that is 10th place, but it still will see them drop back down to 3rd place in the championship for the drivers. So Alan Valente, a wise pilot. Leo Pickler still very much getting to grips with the world of GT3 racing in towards turn 8, hasn't a look to the outside, but can't really take it the long way around. But if he can hold it long enough, he'd have the inside for the next corner. But Valente in the Audi looks to have him covered off at the moment. So the fight for 10th place continues. In the background, John Paul Southern. Mentioned him at the start, a driver that we last saw in 2023 in the ADAC GT Masters as a guest driver. We've seen him in ADAC GT for Germany as well, but he's got his own problems because Finn Zulaf, whatever was wrong, he's in Control-Alt-Delete, he's unplugged it, he's plugged it back in again, whatever it is, the Lamborghini's back up to speed and now challenging John Paul Southern.
Yeah, just didn't seem happy with the balance, and maybe it was tyre related, maybe just taking a while to get them working really well, the Pirelli tyres, but it's definitely looking much better now for Finn. The pace is there, so good battle going on further down the order. Good driving that from Alan Valente, wasn't it? Because he looked second favourite in that battle with Leo Pickler's Porsche, but he managed to keep him behind, even though he was slightly behind going into the corner where he was being challenged. Valente, a former runner-up in the championship alongside Ralph Ferron a few years ago to Mercedes. So 3 different brands that he's driven for now. Audi there of Nico Anker, which has fallen back away a little bit now from Alex Fack's Porsche. It's about almost 2 seconds behind him now. Salmon Vega's about 1.8 seconds adrift of him, so it's relatively calm now in terms of the top 4. And in terms of the championship, as you said, with the 2 points they got for qualifying second, the 25 points coming his way for winning the race. As it stands, Leighton Fury and his teammate to get in, Tim Zimmermann, were on course for 27 points, and they'd easily move back into second in the championship. On 170, Leo Pickler and Simon Bircher on 154 would be third, and by point, I reckon, Dennis Bulatov and Nico Anker would get ahead of the Holsums for 4th place in the championship, which is not a bad comeback given they were 7th or 8th in the championship a couple of weekends ago.
Yes, absolutely, turning it around, just maybe a little too late in their books. Now, there's the trademark shower of sparks that we seem to get with all the Lamborghinis over the curbs here at the Hockenheimring. Looks spectacular as the sparks rise up into the air. Emil Jerdrum second in the Pro-Ams in the number 8 car, sharing with Jonas Karkli. So that duo have been getting better and better, despite a heavy encounter with the barrier, courtesy of a puncture at Salzburg-Ring. Emil Jerdrum certainly hasn't lost any of his pace, and he will too benefit from that shorter pit stop when the pit window opens, which will be in about 3.5 minutes, and it will remain open for 10 minutes, and everybody will be allowed to come in, will be required to come in for their mandatory stop and driver change. I have a feeling that Alex Fack is going to stay out as late as possible. I reckon Leighton Fury, with a clear track in front of him, is going to try and leave it late in the window as well before he hands over to Tim Zimmermann. Lots of fighting further back. Moritz Viskersen is now closed in on Eduardo Kozateng. So this is for 7th place. BMW versus Mercedes. That Mercedes was looking really dialed in yesterday. The car that Moritz Viskersen shares with Janis Fitcher, the two of them have been looking really potent here at the Hockenheimring this weekend.
Yeah, did have a good drive through yesterday, didn't they? And it's quicker of the two cars at the moment, but Kozateng, pretty experienced these days, going to be hard to overtake here in this battle for 7th place. Just under half a second between that. And BMW looks like it's a real struggle to get through the Mobile 1 curve of that right-hander, which they take. They approach at 165 kilometres an hour, and still they're doing it over 120 kilometres an hour through the corner. Look at this battle continuing on between these two Lamborghinis, and Finn Zulav can't quite get past the American, but he's fully alongside him then as they come through the penultimate corner, through turn 16, through turn 17, get on the gas, 3rd gear through there, up to 4th, up to 5th, up to 6th, go from 130 to 230 kilometres an hour before they hit the brakes again into the Nord curve of turn 1. Carry loads of speed through there. Still 4th gear, 180 kilometres an hour, then another straight, and then you really stand on the brakes down to just 80 kilometres an hour for the 2nd gear, 2nd gear corner, and then through this right-left flick back onto the Parabolica.
Still, the track limit warnings keep coming, all at turn 1. It's been a regular feature for all racing here over the last couple of days. Drivers really need to keep it within the white lines, and we have seen penalties awarded for drivers exceeding track limits. At the moment, nothing incoming. A thumbs up from that man there, the photographer, who's loving the racing here in the autumn sunshine here at the Hockenheimring, situated in the Rhine Valley near Hockenheim, enjoying the ADAC GT Masters, their final race of the season. 6 endurance races done, and this is now the 6th sprint race. Next year is something very, very similar to this year. Next year, we're going to be kicking off the season with a sprint race, although it's going to be at the Red Bull Ring, so that's a bit earlier than it was this year as the teams limber up for the pit stops. We're going to be kicking off in April, the 24th to the 26th for round 1 at the Red Bull Ring. We'll be heading to Zandvoort, the Lausitz Ring. We'll be at the Nürburgring, part of the Truck Grand Prix there. We'll be at the Salzburg Ring and the Hockenheim Ring this time next year for the season closer. So very similar to this year, the championship just consolidating and building lots of interest in the championship for next year. So we're really hoping that it will continue to go from strength to strength. As we look at Julian Hanses, who stares into the camera, he is a man who backs off for nobody. It doesn't matter if he's got 2 wheels or even 4 wheels on the grass, he will be going full tilt. I still haven't got over him at the Salzburg Ring, going round the mega fast corner that is absolutely flat out on the grass. But hey, we'll be able to watch that all again next year. Eyes on the Apex, heart on me. Well, there you go. So say all of us. The pit window opens now. We are waiting for the driver. Yeah, we're watching you too, mate. The drivers are we are waiting for the drivers to come in the next 10 minutes for their pit stops. So I reckon Furry and Fack will wait till late in the pit window. I get a feeling Handke might as well. The team might decide for Nico Handke down at Shera Sport PHX. They might want to try and bring him in and get him out on some clear track and try and do an undercut. The Razzoon More Than Racing team will be getting ready, and I can tell you for nothing that Simon Birch will be itching to get behind the wheel of that car. He does not do watching, he's only good for driving, and he will be very impatient to get behind the wheel of car 14. So the first 3 stay out, but 4th place, look at the tyre tracks that Salman Vega left as he peeled off into the pits. We don't have tyre changes here, so you've got to look after them. So Vega's in, also the Giuliano Holzman going to be handing over to the twin brother, Sandro, also coming in, Eduardo Kozateng, also Moritz Viskersen, Max Riceau. Their season is about to come to a close. They will get out of the car, head back to the garage and watch their teammates conclude the season in ADAC GT Masters. So keeping to the speed limits, Giuliano Holzman getting ready to exit the car. Sandro Holzman will help him out, and his twin brother will exit the car. He will jump in. They're very similar builds, so they don't need to change seat inserts. There's an advantage. So the Holzmans are in. Also, the new champions, Salman Vega handing over to Finn Wiebelhaus. Eduardo Kozateng handing over to Julian Hanses. Moritz Viskirchen handing over to Janis Fischer. Max Rice handing over to Niklas Callas. Leo Pickler handing over to Simon Birch, and Finn Zulav in as well. He's got Simon Conner-Prim, who is going to take the baton of the number 33 Powell Motorsport Lamborghini. It's all looking very quiet, but of course, with that minimum pit stop time, you can't just go and park up at the white line. You've got to wait, you've got to back time it. So the frustration, because you just want to go, but you cannot get to the white line early. If you do, you're going to get a penalty.
It costs you the best part of a lap, the whole pit stop, because the race leaders are just coming out of the final turn now. Nearly a lap up on these cars that have made their pit stop. It is the car that was running in 4th place, now driven by Finn Wiebelhaus, who's won the road to DTM title, and no matter what happens in this race, because his teammate Vega was his only rival, and he out-qualified him this year, essentially, is what happened to get the points there to win it. So he's there, the leading pit stop, of at least, what, 80% of a lap, 90% of a lap down on the race leaders. And interestingly, that means that the race leaders, having opted to stay out, have now got to deal with these cars. Now, not on cold tyres, because they keep the same tyres on, but you've got drivers that are just trying to find their feet, get up to speed. I always think with the driver that's second in, you're thrown straight in at the deep end, aren't you? You don't get any time to warm up and sit on the grid or anything like that. And Fat gets through, puts a lap up now on Janis Fischer, maybe, because Fischer's trying to come back at him to try and get that lap back. And Alex Fat could do without this, but he just about squeezes through on the Schnitzel Mercedes. Interestingly, Viskirchen, who was in that Mercedes, he was trying to find a way past Eduardo Cosseteng, wasn't he? He probably was hoping that he was going to stay out the BMW, put a really good lap in, but they both came in together, so there was no advantage there, and those two will still be tied together probably at the end of this race, but he's made a way through. Leighton Fourie, though, has got now a cushion between himself and the car in second place, the white FAC Autotech Porsche of Alex Fak. The blue Nico Handke Scherer Audi is now going to try and find a way past Janis Fischer. Of course, this is not going to be easy, because yes, he's lapping him, but that's a driver that's very quick, and I think that's the right decision, isn't it, to bring the car in now, because rather than try and deal with quick traffic, which is what it is, why not come in now and let everybody else get held up, and you have a nice straight run through the pits.
Of the stoppers, the bravest so far have been Sandro Holzem, Simon Birch and Simon Conner-Prim, who have all just lost 1/10 of a second on the minimum pit stop time. The least brave, if you call a racing driver that, the champion Finn Wiebelhaus, he lost 7/10. Went over the minimum pit stop time rather than under. That's the important bit, but still is the leading stopper at the moment in the number 1 car. So now Nico Handke exits the Audi. Wonder if we're going to see the Audi next year or not. The R8 still very, very competitive, and it will be Denis Bulatov who will get in. Never give up. There's a motto, if ever you saw one, and that is on the back of Alexander Schwarzer, who is poised and ready to take over from Alex Fak. Still got a little under 5 minutes of the pit window remaining, and as the silver-rated driver of the duo, get a feeling that Alex Fak will want to maximise his time in the seat and potentially come in at the very, very last minute of the pit window.
Yeah, so he's 2 seconds behind Leighton Fourie. He's going to have this much shorter pit stop. He should be giving his teammate, if all goes well in the pits, something like a 12 or 13 second head start over everybody else. Alex Schwarzer, though, building his experience up now. He's in his mid-30s, 36 years of age, second Pro-Am Championship title on the bounce in this category, but Porsche racing in his blood, really. He's come up through the Porsche Sports Cup in Germany. He's raced, had guest appearances in the Porsche Carrera Cup Italy, even had a guest appearance in the Porsche Super Cup on the world stage racing at Monza.
Oh, it's a wild moment there for Simon Birch. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, another Porsche that's been pushed hard, wasn't it? Simon Birch there. And that just about got away with that. Thankfully, the grass is a bit drier now, with the sun and the wind that we've had today. It's been pretty breezy out there as well. Otherwise, he might have been in trouble. Let's get a replay of that. Yeah, just trying to keep his foot in and just went beyond the curbs. Of course, that might be a track limits warning as well, because he went all 4 wheels over the edge of the curbs, didn't he?
Yeah, so not convinced it's the quickest way around that corner, and it's certainly a risky way of doing it, but that's classic Simon Birch, really. Back off for nobody. He's down in 13th place at the moment, and he is impatient to move forwards, but he's fortunately got several cars in front of him that are yet to stop, amongst them Alan Valente, and there comes Carrie Schreiner, seat insert in hand, so the Land Motorsport Audi will change hands, and Carrie Schreiner will get behind the wheel of that car. Great to have Carrie Schreiner back in the GT Masters this year. First saw her back in about 2019, I think it was, in GT Masters, and she's been in the F1 Academy since then, has returned to her GT3 racing roots, and very welcome she is to Alan Valente, something of a veteran in GT Masters nowadays, certainly compared to a lot of the youngsters that are in it. We still got 4 cars yet to come in. The first 4, Leighton Fury, Alex Fack stays out as predicted, Jonathan Cecotto still out at the moment, and John Paul Southern. So they're all waiting. Remember that Fack and Carclise have the shorter pit stop. Carclise has taken his, he's taken over from Emil Jördrum, but when Alex Fack hands over to Alexander Schwarzer, if all goes well, he should emerge well in the lead of this race. Got 2 minutes and 20 seconds in which to do that stop.
Carrie Schreiner heading out, talking to her yesterday, saying she really enjoys Hockenheim's home circuit. She's got the podium here a few years ago in a former GT Masters race. A couple of years ago, a race winner in the F1 Academy. She said she was in 2 minds about whether to do that championship, but really glad she did, because she's made some great contacts in the world of Formula 1 and also got to show what she can do in single-seaters on the world stage as well. So it's been a good move from her career-wise. And a class winner at the Nürburgring 24 Hours as well. Single-seater racing prior to that in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship. So good stint from John Paul Southern. When he came out yesterday, he was having to deal with being lapped by race leaders, but his pace was pretty close, wasn't it, to the race leaders yesterday, and even though he let them through, he was kind of hanging on to those front runners for a long time. So good effort by him. He hands over now to his teammate, because we've only got, well, a minute and a half less than of the pit window remaining now before we have a straight fight to the end of the race. So either on this lap, probably on this lap actually, the front runners are going to have to come in, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely, because they're not going to be able to make it round, and you cannot miss the pit window. We've seen it happen in the past, and I have to tell you, they throw the book at you if you do that. So we're going to have to see Bury, Fack and Cecotto into the pits this time around. Holsham is the next to monster it around turn 17, out onto the pit straight. Right, here comes Fury into the pits. Zimmerman will be limbering up. Here comes Fack, attacks the white line in the pits. I was looking out the window, came in like a rocket, hit the brakes at the last minute. Cecotto, still waiting for him to arrive. Now he comes. Dennis Fetzer will be standing by to take over from Jonathan Cecotto. Cecotto, that legendary name, is done for this season. He can only watch as his teammate brings it home. Here comes Alexander Schwarzer. It's a real sprint, but actually he could probably take his time, because he's got, well, less time than those around him, but still plenty of time to get in, to get buckled up. I would just say yesterday, there was a disqualification for car number 8, which was Jonas Carclise and Emil Jördrum, because they did not get the safety net done up. And we saw it on screen. They were struggling to get it connected. So it is very important that the outgoing driver does actually help the incoming driver to get buckled up and strapped in, and they've got to have all the health and safety equipment connected. That is heavily regulated, and that includes the safety net that is next to the driver's head. Right, where is Denis Bulatov? The 16 cars up in the Sachs Curva at turn 13, and they're still revving the engine. That's a great sound. Alexander Schwarzer is going to emerge well in front of Denis Bulatov here. So out of the pit lane he comes. Bulatov's not even up to turn 17 yet. And here, around towards turn 2, comes Alexander Schwarzer. So that shorter minimum pit stop time gives him some breathing room. But now we've got 24.25 minutes for everybody behind to go hell for leather to try and catch him.
Yeah, I think the key thing is that in terms of the battle for second place, we knew that Fack Autotech Porsche with the shorter pit stop was going to come out in the lead. But actually, the BMW, the FK Performance BMW, now driven by Tim Zimmerman, the orange machine, I think it's grown its advantage over the Nico Hanke, Denis Bulatov Audi, looking at the track map. So they're just heading into the Spitzkehrer now. Just coming out of the left-hander at the Parabolica is the Audi. So I reckon that gap, which was less than 2 seconds, is more like 3 now, probably, something like that. So I think they've, through not just the pit stop itself, but the in-lap and now the out-lap, that BMW has grown its advantage, which is good news for Tim Zimmerman, because it means he hasn't got to try and get past an Audi before he tries to go after the Porsche for what would be their 3rd win of the season. And if they get the 3rd win of the season, at least they can claim that they've had more wins than anybody else this year, including the eventual champions of Vega and Wiebelhaus.
23 and a quarter minutes remaining of what has been a very entertaining 2025 season, the 19th season of ADAC GT Masters, and now the chase is on. Alexander Schwarzer leads the way, having taken over from Alex Fack. Alexander Schwarzer, who is a bronze-rated driver, the FIA-rated driver, in the bronze category, surrounded by silver-rated drivers. He's crossed the start-finish line a little while ago. The gap between himself and Zimmerman is 8.911 seconds. Tim Zimmerman, a very experienced silver-rated driver, is now going to be giving it everything, and that gap, we'd expect it to come down. 8.911. We'll see what he can do in the next lap, and we're going to get then an indication of whether Alex Schwarzer is going to be able to hold on to win this race along with Alex Fack. Of course, what would be a disaster for Schwarzer would be any kind of safety car about now, because that big gap that he's gained as a result of the pit sequence would disappear to nothing. But 8.911 is the gap. Dennis Bulatov 4.3 back from Zimmerman. So Zimmerman able in clean air to just give it full beans.
Yeah, so Zimmerman and Fury have kind of doubled their advantage over that Audi that you're looking at in the picture now. You can see that the Mustang is much closer to the Audi than it was, but the Audi had the slightly quicker pit stop in terms of the actual stop through the whole stop. It was 0.1 of a second quicker than the FK Performance BMW, so it must have been that Fury just got his head down, had a really good in-lap and gained the advantage that way. Of course, you can also gain time on the way into the pit line, through the pit lane, but to the white line. It's only when you get to the white line just before the pit entry that you have to get the car dipped down to the minimum speed or maximum speed of the pit lane. But the way you attack the pit lane can also gain you, quite a bit of time. So good job there, I would say, done by Leighton Fury, and a good job done getting straight up to speed by his teammate Tim Zimmerman, who's had 5-6 years now racing in GT Masters, plenty of experience. He comes through the shot, and you can see that it's much closer than it was before the pit stops between third and fourth, the Audi, and Finn Wiebelhaus, champion-elect now in that Mustang.
And in the last lap, Tim Zimmerman has taken 1.5 seconds out of Alexander Schwarzer's lead. So the gap down to 7.4. It was 8.9 last time around. Now it's 7.47. So Zimmerman is on a charge. He's got to look after the car. They can't do tyre changes. So you've got to have the rubber at the end. So he's got to drive with an element of thought as well, but he's giving it absolutely everything. You can see the picture on the left-hand side of your screen looking at Alexander Schwarzer, just focused, trying to focus on what's ahead, not getting distracted. We're looking down at the hairpin. Dennis Bulatov challenging for position as well. We're looking back from Tim Zimmerman. So Bulatov, sorry, that's Finn Wiebelhaus in the Mustang. So Dennis Bulatov and Finn Wiebelhaus. It was Wiebelhaus who had got past him. So heading into the hairpin, under braking, that nice tight inside line. Finn Wiebelhaus, the new champion in ADAC GT Masters, gives the squeeze to Dennis Bulatov and moves himself into a podium position as that Mustang looking like it's on rails in this second part of the race.
Good move that from Wiebelhaus, because it's not the most nimble of cars through tight corners, like hairpins, that Mustang, and he just pinched it in there, didn't he? Really nicely done by Finn Wiebelhaus to get that third place away from Bulatov, who's been a double race winner this year, as has Finn Wiebelhaus, latest win coming last time out in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. So let's see what he can do, because yes, he can try and catch the BMW, but they both look like they probably have the pace to be able to catch that Porsche. So that's going to make his life easier now. If he's not having to follow the Audi, he's got clean air. Finn Wiebelhaus, let's see what his lap times are like now, also compared to the Porsche, because yes, he's, what, 10-11 seconds behind the Porsche, but we've got 19 minutes plus a lap to go, and he's only got to take 3 or 4 tenths of a second out of him per lap, and he'll get that gap down before the end of the race. Missing the apex there is Alex Schwarzer, very deep into the Spitzkehrer, and also just about making it through the corner. It's very tricky, that hairpin, is Tim Zimmerman. Looking a bit more on it though is Finn Wiebelhaus in third. That was a much neater, wasn't it? But he was actually a bit slower than Zimmerman through the first sector. They both have gained about half a second through the first part of that lap alone, on the Porsche.
And it was 1 second they gained on the previous lap as well. So Alexander Schwarzer is going to feel the might of a BMW before too long. And I think Finn Wiebelhaus closing in potentially on both of them. We could have quite a scrap for the podium positions at the end of this, although Tim Zimmermann has a fairly wild ride. Oh, calm down, everybody. Out of turn 12, he kept it out of the gravel. So, yes, he is pushing. I think we can confirm he's pushing, isn't he? Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Wiebelhaus was really quick through that middle sector. 46.7 for Zimmermann, 46.095 for Wiebelhaus. So, yeah, need to run through the Spitzkehrer. Plenty of grunt with the Mustang, the V8. Good effort. So, overall, they go through the line. 141.1 for the leader, Schwarzer. 140.1, a second quicker for Zimmermann. 139.5 for Wiebelhaus. So Wiebelhaus is 0.6 quicker than second, and he's 1.6 seconds quicker than the Porsche. So second is catching first, third is flying after the pair of them.
And there's an air of inevitability here for Alexander Schwarzer. I mean, he has come on in leaps and bounds with the coaching of his co-driver, Alex Fack. He is so much quicker, really, an improved driver, so fast. But Tim Zimmermann, the driver who has been doing the rounds, he's been in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany, he's been in GT Master, we've seen him in all sorts of disciplines over the years, has way more experience than the bronze-rated driver ahead of him, and is putting that experience to good use as he hustles the orange and black BMW over the curbs, hitting all the apexes just right there. In that second place, Schwarzer just has to give it everything, focus on what's ahead, but lurking in the background, the mighty Ford Mustang with Finn Wiebelhaus at the wheel, buoyed by the fact that he's just won his first title in ADAC GT Masters, has broken clear of Dennis Bulatov by about 1.5 seconds. Then it's Sandro Holzem and Julian Hanses, Dennis Fetzer and Janis Fitcher, Nicholas Callas in 9th place, Simon Birch in 10th place. And Simon Birch, who has that extra 10 kilos as a result of the second place yesterday, not looking to have the pace that he was probably expecting. Nicholas Callas ahead of him in the Mustang. Meanwhile, Janis Fitcher challenges Dennis Fetzer. Fetzer in the Mustang. Janis Fitcher with the tighter line into turn 17, steals it away with relative ease, and that's exactly what Simon Birch does as well.
Yeah, double overtake there, and it's the Mercedes getting ahead of the Mustang. Good move that from Janis Fitcher. He was pushing hard, wasn't he? So he gets 7th away from Fetzer, and right behind at exactly the same time, synchronised overtaking. The Porsche of Birch gets ahead of the Mustang of Callas, and so he nibbled at the Sachs curve, and then he nibbled again at turn 16, and he finally got through at turn 17 with this move, and right behind, same time, you see the Porsche there emerges in front of the Mustang. So good battles going on there outside of the top 6. Meanwhile, the race leader's advantage is dwindling all the time. He's lost another 0.4 of a second through the first sector, so that means his gap is now only 4 seconds or thereabouts over Tim Zimmermann, and again 0.2 quicker than Zimmermann through the first sector was Wiebelhaus, who keeps lapping in the 139. He's the quickest driver on track at the moment. The FK Performance BMW there coming through your shot, the orange machine. They won the Drivers and Teams Championship in 2024. That's Oaston getting their first win as a team at the Red Bull Ring in 2023. And then you've got coming after, or trying to hang on to them, Dennis Bulatov in that Scherer Audi, but his pace isn't quite on it, is it? A 140.3, so he is lapping similar to Zimmermann, but not as quick as Wiebelhaus. Sandro Holzem, though, is also looking really good. He drove well yesterday, didn't he? As way off on the road goes Nicholas Callas in the Mustang, so that was a hairy moment. He's just about dragged it back on track, but like a lot of drivers, he gets caught out coming into this arena section on that run through the Mobil 1 curver and into the Sachs curver, and this is a replay, and you're going to see the Porsche flashing its headlights. The car at the back of this queue is the one to watch. Comes too wide, does he? Yeah. Gets the gravel, straight on, can't fight it, so just does the right thing, lets it drift, but it's so bumpy and bouncy over the grass there, he could have easily lost control. It's pretty damp grass as well. Did a good job, actually, to get it back on the track, didn't he?
Yeah, and he also did well not to lose any position, so he's still in 10th place at the moment as we look down at the Spitzkehrer, the hairpin in the evening sunshine here at the Hockenheimring. The cars hitting the braking point. Sandra Holzem going quite deep into the corner there in the 56 6 car. Here's our race leader. The gap last time across the line was 3.372. We're coming round to turn 11 at the moment. It's going to be less than 3.3. It's going to be under 3 seconds when they hit the start-finish line next time around. So Schwarzer still focusing on what's ahead. Well, you can see there across the timing beam, it was 2.8. When we come across the start-finish line, we'll get the gap at the end of the lap. But there is no doubt that Zimmermann is closing. There is no doubt that Wiebelhaus is closing on both. Last time across the start-finish line, it was 2.035 between third place Wiebelhaus and second place Zimmermann. So 3.372 between first and second, 2 between second and third. This time around, the gap is 2.3 between first and second, 1.469 between second and third. So this is shaping up in the last 12.5 minutes of the season to be quite a finish.
Keeping my eye on Simon Birch as well in the number 14 Resume More Than Racing Porsche. He's been flying after the gold and black Mustang of Dennis Fetzer, 8th and 9th to go over the line. There's only half a second between those two now as well. So good scrap going on there. 3.8 seconds less than now, covering all 3 of our front runners. Into the Spitzkehrer they go. The Porsche of Alex Schwarzer, the BMW of Tim Zimmermann, and the Mustang of Finn Wiebelhaus. Then it's the Audi of Dennis Bulatov. So 4 different brands running up there in the top 4 positions. Through that first sector, just under 22 seconds for Schwarzer, 21.7 for Zimmermann, 21.6 for Wiebelhaus. So it is all concertinaing up. Zimmermann will want to get straight past that Porsche. If he gets stuck behind the Porsche, he's going to have to defend then from the Mustang of Wiebelhaus, which is almost with him now.
First, second and third now all in the same camera shot with 11.5 minutes remaining of this, the final race of the season for the ADAC GT Masters. Alexander Schwarzer, the bronze-rated driver, 2 silver-rated drivers, honing in on him, the new champion of ADAC GT Masters. At the back of that queue of 3 cars, Finn Wiebelhaus, the quickest of the 3, into turn 16, then to 17, out along the pit straight. Once again, along past the pits comes Alexander Schwarzer. The gap down to 1.655. The gap between Zimmermann and Wiebelhaus down to about half a second. It's all compressing at the front. Dennis Bulatov, 3.8 seconds back in 4th place, not able to do anything about it. But it's starting to feel as though Wiebelhaus is going to catch Zimmermann before Zimmermann catches Schwarzer. And that is going to throw a little bit of a different dynamic on it, because Zimmermann, having been bearing down on the race leader, is now suddenly aware that the Mustang is filling his mirrors and is going to be challenging. Out along the parabolica, Wiebelhaus will not want to waste any time moving to the inside, under braking into the hairpin. He takes that tighter line. Zimmermann takes it deep into the corner, tries to cut back, but Wiebelhaus has the grunt on the exit of the corner. Now will Tim Zimmermann be able to come back at him into turn 7 and then to the left-hander into turn 8? No, he won't, because Wiebelhaus has got the job done and moved up into second place.
Very, very good that from Wiebelhaus. Going for it, first time of asking, because the longer you sit behind somebody, the harder it becomes to overtake, because they know where your strong points are, they know where to defend, where you're going to try and come from. And always the best way is to get straight on with it, and he did exactly that. No hesitation whatsoever here. And again, it's difficult to get that right, because you're so hard on the brakes from such a high speed that once you get alongside somebody, it's easy to get carried away and go too deep into the corner, brake too late, run wide and lose the position on the way out of the corner. I mean, he used all of the tarmac, that's for sure, right to the edge of the circuit, but he did it perfectly well. Tim Zimmermann couldn't fight him off. And now the Mustang will go after the race leader. We've still got a nose-to-tail battle coming towards the end of the lap for 8th place between Dennis Fetzer and Simon Birch, who is looking very rapid, former Danish karting champion who won the inaugural Portimao 6-hour race at the start of the year, alongside Tom Callender for Resume. Tom got his best result so far in the DTM in his first season. Here is Finn Wiebelhaus, O'Brien, about to go for it.
Interestingly, Alexander Schwarzer indicated left as they came around at turn 4 towards turn 5. I think Schwarzer saying, I'm not going to put up a fight. I'm not in the same battle as you. Certainly, Vivo has had no trouble at all moving to the front of the race as they went into the hairpin. Tim Zimmerman will be eager to dispatch Schwarzer as quickly as possible and see if he can set about after Vivohaus. But Vivohaus, certainly man on a mission, jumps to the lead of the race. Alexander Schwarzer in that second place for the Pro-Am lead of the race still. Tim Zimmerman in third place. We want to get up into second place as soon as possible. A little over 8 minutes remaining of this 2025 season as we ride on board with Tim Zimmerman once again out of turn 12 towards turn 13. The Sachs Curve, a fairly banked corner. Don't really see that much that it's banked when you're looking at it on TV, but they carry a fair bit of speed, but you can also get it very wrong there. Turn 14 and 15 into 16, keep it within the track limits. There's not much grip out there. Out of 17 they come. So now out past the pits. Will Zimmerman make a move here, or will he wait till the exit of turn 2 before he decides to pounce on Alexander Schwarzer? He's not getting the job done yet. Around turn 1 they come, towards turn 2. Now is going to be his opportunity. Schwarzer, I don't think, is going to put up much of a fight. He moves to the inside, ducks to the outside to get the racing line around the corner. It was here that he allowed Finn Vibohaus plenty of room. So Schwarzer in that second place in the Porsche. Here he comes out along the Parabolica once again. Zimmerman in the slipstream will duck to the right-hand side, under braking in towards the hairpin. The two cars running side by side, but an easy second place to Tim Zimmerman. Alexander Schwarzer deciding that discretion is the better part of valor, not getting involved in a battle that's not his to win.
Although now he comes back at the BMW, coming out of the corner, but eventually tucks back in behind him. And do you know what? Zimmerman had to get on with that because he'd been dropped down into Schwarzer's pace, and he did a lap time last time around of a 1:41, whereas Bulatov in the Audi did a 1:39.8, so the Audi was more than a second quicker than him. And look, there he is in the background, and if Bulatov can get straight past the Porsche, he might fancy his chances of trying to get a second place finish here. Second in the race at the moment then for Zimmerman in that FK Performance BMW. Leighton Fury and he will now have done enough, if it stays like this, to get the runner-up spot, become vice champions ahead of Leo Pickler and Simon Birch. Battle for fourth in the championship involves Bulatov and Hanke in the Audi and the Holzem twins in the BMW. There's only a couple of points between them at the moment, so 2 more points if you can finish third in the race rather than fourth. Extra incentive for Bulatov and Hanke. They've had more race wins this season, so if they tie, they will finish ahead of the twins for fourth in the championship. Bulatov sending a lot of speed there around the Nord curve, spies his opportunity, and because it's Dennis Bulatov, he never hangs around, does he? Goes for it straight away, down the inside. Great move at turn 2.
Yeah, I'm not waiting, he says, get on with it. And that's exactly what he's done. So he shuffles Schwarzer off the podium and moves up into that third place. I've just been watching Simon Birch behind Dennis Fetzer, and he's been about 3/10 behind, struggling to get past him. So I think Simon Birch unusually subdued, I would say, the car that won the first 2 races of the season. Schwarzer, well, he's not letting Bulatov just get away with it. You saw him closing in, under braking the head into the sun, right in the eyes of the drivers here on this autumn, late afternoon, autumnal day at the Hockenheimring, as we enjoy the last 5 minutes of the last race of the season for ADAC GT Masters 2025.
So Vibohaus and Vega on course for a 3rd win of the season to follow their victories at the Nürburgring mid-season, the Red Bull Ring last time out. This would be another win for them. It would be a 5th podium of the season from the 12-round championship. An excellent season. It was a tough day for them yesterday, struggling with the car and the pace and the performance, perhaps a bit the balance of performance, but 9th place, more than enough to wrap up the championship title now. Trying to end the season on a real high with no points worries. This a replay of Vibohaus getting the job done, moving ahead of Alex Schwarzer. On board with Alex now. He was well aware, wasn't he, of where that Mustang was, and yeah, he knew he wouldn't be able to fend him off long. This was then Second place changed hands. Zimmerman on board, carrying the momentum down the inside of Alex Schwarzer. He went Schwarzer got back at him. This was the move, wasn't it? Really good from Bolotov down the inside. Don't see too many moves into turn 2 like that, but it was really good.
In both instances of Zimmerman and Wiebelhaus, Alexander Schwarzer indicated left as they headed towards the hairpin. So saying to the driver behind, okay, I'm going to give you the room to get past, but if you hang about, I'm taking you back again. Certainly not giving up, but that was a wild ride for Simon Birch. He's gone a little bit wide. That's out of turn 4 out onto the parabolica. There's already dust rising up into the air, but that's left him vulnerable to Nicholas Callas. Callas has taken the opportunity and jumped in front, so a rare mistake from Simon Birch, but a rare mistake from Nicholas Callas into the hairpin. So Birch returns the compliment on the exit. It's a drag race, horsepower all the way towards turn 7 they come, and then it'll be in towards turn 8. Advantage Callas. So Simon Birch paying the price for getting a couple of wheels onto the dirt, maybe getting the tyres dirty as well. The fight for 9th place, Simon Birch is in 10th.
Tremendous news that for Dennis Fetzer, because he'd had Birch breathing down his neck for about 4 or 5 laps, but that gives him some respite. Let the golden black Mustang well up the road now. They're all struggling to keep it on the island, aren't they? Coming through the right-hander at the moment.
That was really got high, didn't he?
Bouncy run, wasn't it?
Yes.
An airborne Porsche that was. 4 wheels off the ground at one point, so when your wheels are off the ground, your traction and your acceleration aren't very good, and that was why we then lost the place of the Mustang, which just whizzed past him.
Our judges have given that a 7, a 7 and a 9. So he doesn't look like he's got any damage, but boy, I think he's probably going to have backache at the end of that one. So he's going to do all the work again. 2 minutes and 10 seconds plus 1 lap remaining of this season. And Nicholas Callas has put one over Simon Birch. Wait till that happen again. 9th place, Birch having to come back. He's in that 10th place at the moment. Wants to finish the season off on a high. Now challenging that Mustang. Remember, this is the car that won the opening 2 races of the season at the Hockenheimring. Looked like they were going to walk the championship after the first round, but it's not been so easy ever since, and they're still waiting for that 3rd win. So now challenging in towards the hairpin, Nicholas Callas, the driver who had the injury on the eve of the Nürburgring endurance race. He crashed his e-scooter, damaged his leg, had to sit out a round. We had David Schumacher in the seat of that car instead. He's focused on nothing but recovery for about 8 weeks to get back in the seat of that car, and he's bringing it to good use at the moment. He's into 9th place, fending off the might of Simon Birch with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, really good battle, and just going for it. The last few minutes, the last few laps of what's been a really good season in 2025, and trying to go out on a high now. No worries about the immediate future, just the here and now. Birch definitely coming back here to try and get that place, but the Mustang is not going to be an easy car to overtake. Porsche might have the advantage in the corners. The Mustang should have a bit more grunt in the straight line and through the fast bends. There's Dennis Fetzer coming through. There's Nicholas Callas, and there is Simon Birch in the Porsche. In the background, Simon Connor Prim in the Pal Motorsport Lamborghini in 11th place, itching to get involved in the fight. We've got 30 seconds left on the clock, so time's going to run out on this lap, with the race leader only just making his way through the first sector now, and that means that 1 more lap at the end of this for the 2025 season.
You see how deep they're going into the hairpin. One of those being Sandra Holzem going deep to the inside of Alexander Schwarzer. Schwarzer trying to come back on the outside. Porsche versus BMW out towards turn 7. But it will be Schwarzer, if he can hold it. I was going to say have the inside line into turn 8, but he hasn't been able to. So Holzem jumps in front. The clock has struck 0. Our race leader's up at turn 12 at the moment. So a little over a lap of this season remaining. And it will be Samuel Vega and Finn Wiebelhaus who will start the final lap of the race, looking for their 3rd win this season to cement the championship that they secured yesterday in the penultimate race of the season. Alexander Schwarzer, though, just as we switched away, you saw him retaking that position. Sandra Holzem had gone wide into turn 13 and has lost that position. So Schwarzer has come through and retaken that position. There we go. Holzem in that very tricky Sachs Curve. It's caught a lot of people out this weekend across many formulas, and it's caught out Sandra Holzem there, and he has just surrendered that position that he worked so hard for, and he's back down to 5th.
Dennis Bulatov hasn't quite given up on second place yet, has he? Because he was 3/10 quicker than the BMW of Tim Zimmerman last time around. You can see the gap between the orange Beamer and the blue Audi down to less than a second now. And through the first sector, Bulatov was quicker again by 1/10.5. He'll wish there was just a couple more laps in this race, flashing his headlights to try and distract Tim Zimmerman. Tim is a bit deep into the corner as well, so again the gap comes down. The Audi might get one chance here, right at the end of the race, to try and dive bomb and get that second place, Brian. And it's the last race of the season. I bet he'll have a go if he can.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose. So in towards turn 7 and then to turn 8, leaving it as late as he dare on the brakes. Dennis Bulatov, such an entertaining driver, closing in on Tim Zimmerman, who is one of the most experienced drivers in the field. Zimmerman has got him covered off at the moment. Finn Wiebelhaus is up ahead. It is the final few corners of the season at the moment. Wiebelhaus is heading into the Sachs Curve. Zimmerman looks like he might have Bulatov covered off, because around the Sachs Curve, as long as he can get this right, then into turn 14 and 15 for the very last time. Wiebelhaus has already got the job done, and he's heading into 16, then into 17, out onto the pit straight. It's going to be a 3rd win of the season for the brand new champions of the ADAC GT Masters. Finn Wiebelhaus and Salman Vega, Tim Zimmerman, Leighton Fury holding on to that 2nd place despite a last-minute charge from Dennis Bulatov and Nico Handke, and Alexander Schwarzer and Alex Fack 4th place. An easy win in the Pro-Ams and a really hard-fought 4th place that they really deserve. The Holzem twins across the line in 5th, ahead of Julian Hanses and Eduardo Kozatang, Moritz Viskirchen, Janis Fitcher in 7th. Then it's Dennis Fetzer, Jonathan Chicotto. A difficult race for Nicholas Callas and Max Rice. I think 9th place. They were hoping for more, as is also the case for Simon Birch and Leo Pickler in 10th. They were ahead of Simon Connor Prim and Finn Zulauf in 11th. And then 2nd in the Pro-Ams was Jonas Karklees and Emil Jerdrum, ahead of Carrie Schreiner and Alan Valente. And in 14th place, it was Tim Hooter and John Paul Southern. But what a way to nail it to everybody else. They secured the championship yesterday, and they followed it up with a top step of the podium today.
Yeah, excellent drive by both Vega and Wiebelhaus. That Wiebelhaus snatched his chance with both hands. 4 podiums from the last 5 races to make life comfortable, or more comfortable, on the run to the title. Confirmation of the results: Wiebelhaus and Vega ahead of Zimmerman and Fury. Bulatov and Handke close behind in the end, but 3rd. Schwarzer, in fact, with another Pro-Am win. Double champions in that category. 4th overall, the Holzem twins in 5th. Hansen and Kosseteng in 6th. Fitcher and Viskirchen 7th. And Fetzer and Chicotto hanging on to finish in 8th place after the final round of the 12th event of the season here at Hockenheim. Nicholas Callas and Max Rice, after that very tricky qualifying where they didn't get a lap in, coming from the back of the field. 9th place, Birch and Pickler losing out on 2nd place in the championship because they could only finish 10th. So Zimmerman and Fury that will provisionally be the vice champions. Connor Prim and Zulauf 11th place, ahead of the number 8 Liqui Moly, Emil Jerdrum, Jonas Karklees car, which was 2nd of the Pro-Ams, with Carrie Schreiner, Tim Hooter crossing the line 13th and 14th. So just about the perfect way to end an excellent season and a great debut season for the Mustang. A 2nd title for Salman Vega, and for that 18-year-old there, Finn Wiebelhaus, 3 wins in the championship to add to the one he got last year as a Mercedes driver, and already in his 2nd season of GT Masters, a champion.
And he's won the road to DTM. He succeeds Elias Seppänen, who won the inaugural running of that title last year. And Finn Wiebelhaus will get funding towards a drive in DTM. And I'd say there's a very good chance that we may see the name Finn Wiebelhaus lining up on the grid of the 2026 DTM season. He is a huge talent who's been loitering for the last couple of years. We knew he's a champion in the making. Well, he's proven that by securing the GT Master champion along with Salman Vega. Leighton Furry and Tim Zimmerman, I think it'll be scant consolation getting second in the championship, but it's certainly a really sterling job for them. Leo Pickler and Simon Birch will want to have another shot at that. Hopefully next year they'll be back to have another go at the championship title, but it really has been all about the Mustangs. We've had a couple of front row lockouts for the Mustangs in qualifying. We've had race wins for them, as we've already mentioned, a third race win for Samuel Vega and Finn Wiebelhaus. So really solid stuff, and Team HRT will be thoroughly delighted with what has happened. And a championship secured with the top step of the podium. There's Leighton Furry just with the Pirelli hat, and Tim Zimmerman with the helmet. It's given him, I don't know, is that a couple of quid for a pint later? I don't know. There is the number 16 car, Dennis Bulatov. There, just waiting. The congratulations can come. The racing is done for this year. Certainly in the ADAC GT Masters, there may well be a little bit of celebrating. There is Nico Handke just talking to Dennis Bulatov, who is yet to remove his helmet. Dennis Bulatov and Nico Handke we've seen in ADAC GT4 Germany over the last few years. It was only a matter of time before they arrived in the GT Masters and have gone from strength to strength. That accident at the Salzburg Ring was actually turned to be the turning point of their season, really, didn't it? Yeah,
it's been a really strong comeback. It was the real low point, of course, for them. But to come back with 2 wins, another podium today in the last 4 races, they've been exceptional. And I guess they wish the season was starting now, because they are right on form. And if they can carry that form on and come back next year, then there'll be certainly ones to watch. Nico Handke and Dennis Bulatov have been very good value for money, very entertaining.
Bring out the beer!
Bring out the beers, yeah. They've got the Champions T-shirts already on. I probably had those on yesterday as well. Finn Wiebelhaus and Samuel Vega on there with the Mustang. A memento of a fantastic season, and they're going to end the season with another trip to the top step of the podium. But Tim Zimmerman, best season for him, 2nd place, and continuing his rise up the rankings in GT racing is Leighton Furry, who 2021 won the VW Challenge Championship, the South African VW Polo Cup Championship title. 2022 won the Global Touring Car Super Cup Championship in South Africa, won the BMW M2 Cup in 2023, 4th in GT4 last year, runner-up in GT3 this year. He's had an excellent few seasons, even though the championship wasn't quite to be. So well done to Leighton Furry and Tim Zimmerman. After actually a really tough last 3 races, they've put a smile back onto the faces of themselves and the team at FK Performance with another visit to the podium.
And while we're waiting for the drivers to go onto the podium, just to remind you, the dates for 2026 are out, and we will be starting in the Styrian Mountains. Bring your jacket, bring your skis. April at the Red Bull Ring, the 24th to the 26th of April for round 1. Circuit Zandvoort will be in May as part of the DTM package once again, 22nd to the 24th of May. Round 3 will be at the Lausitz Ring. That will be an endurance race. That'll be from the 19th to the 21st of June. Then we'll be part of the ADAC Truck Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, the July the 10th to the 12th. The 5th round will be September the 4th to the 6th at the Salzburg Ring. That is a challenge for man and machine, I'll tell you that. And that will also be an endurance round. And then it will all come to a close here at the Hockenheimring next year, October the 9th to the 11th for the 6th and final round of the season. That is the 2026 season that lies ahead of us, and the ADAC GT Masters alongside the DTM for all bar 2 of their rounds. So very much very similar to this year. A real variety of tracks, a variety of disciplines. Of course, the endurance racing, very different to the sprint racing in terms of discipline, with tyre changes and refueling part of that as well. And hopefully we'll see certainly one of those drivers, if not both, coming back to defend. Although, having won the road to DTM, you'd like to think that Finn Wiebelhaus may well be lining up. Well, he might be watching this, having raced in the DTM.
Yeah, maybe so. With last year's champion becoming the youngest ever starter in the DTM, Tom Callender, and having a really good final couple of weekends in DTM, 11th in the Red Bull Ring to get his best results so far in his debut season. season. They're going even better today, finishing up in 7th place in the DTM. So yeah, it's good to see these young drivers coming through. Team celebrating. Uli Fritz getting absolutely done there with the champagne, the team principal, because he was head of motorsport for the program for Mercedes for many years in the DTM. They've done a really, really good job, as I've said a few times, with that Mustang, bringing it into the DTM, bringing it into GT Masters, where they've had exceptional success. I wouldn't have even thought, with all their experience and all their skill, they would have still been very, very delighted if you told them at the start of the season you're going to end up winning the Teams Championship and the Drivers' Championship with the Mustang first time out. And of course, it's a really popular brand, and it has a big fan base when you go around the paddocks here in Germany, and the support in the other categories. You see a lot of Ford branding, so it's been a breath of fresh air to have the Mustang in. And Brian, it sounds great, doesn't it?
Oh, the ground shakes. The sound is as good as the sight, as we see lots of signatures on the back and the sticker saying that they are the team champions of 2025. And if anybody can make the Mustang work on debut, it was going to be HRT, of course, operating a dual program in the GT Masters and also in the DTM. So lots of data being shared between the two of them, and they've put that data to good use. Their first year having dispatched Mercedes and moved over to Ford Mustang, and they've really made it work. And everybody who drives one of those Mustangs, the trademark is they get out of the car and they just can't stop grinning, because it is, I guess, if you're a frustrated NASCAR driver, it's about as close as you can get in Europe. It's just something really spectacular, the growl of those cars.
Looks mean, doesn't it, as well, when you get those rear-facing onboard cameras that we get with the coverage, and you're looking back at the Mustang coming nosing towards you. It looks pretty intimidating, I have to say. So yeah, it's been a great addition, and it's been interesting to bring in more endurance races this year as well, hasn't it? It's sort of mixed things up and made for another discipline, and again just brings into the equation a bit more that strategic factor, and the fact that the team can play with getting these pit stops absolutely right. It's really impressive, isn't it, how they have this minimum pit stop time and they get to within frequently 0.1, 0.2 seconds of that minimum time.
Yes, and we saw that today. He who dares wins, or indeed she who dares wins, getting to within a tenth of the minimum pit stop time. It's quite a discipline, and it's a great way of training drivers. I mean, it's not a training series, but it's one that is part of the ladder heading towards DTM. And with DTM coming into the ADAC package, it's given GT Masters the room to bring in the new talent and to train them alongside the amateur drivers as well. As we see Dennis Buildup and Nico Handke jumping to the third step of the podium. Second step, Tim Zimmerman, Leighton Fury. They'll be happy with that. Disappointed with the season, but a bit of silverware heading back to their respective homes. But what a display from Salman Ovega and Finn Wiebelhaus. Ovega did it in 2023, winning the championship. Wiebelhaus winning his first GT Masters Championship to the top step of the podium. HRT will bring up their guys to receive the trophy on behalf of the team, and we should get Team Alex up in a couple of minutes as well. So Alex Back and Alexander Schwarzer as the winners in the Pro-Am. Great guys, always worth catching a word with them if you're walking in the paddock, and really bring a lot to the GT Masters. Time for the final national anthem of the season. So, looking out from the podium, high up here at the Hockenheimring in the autumn sunshine, Dr. Hilmar Siebert, ADAC Vice President, presents the trophies to the winning duo. Did I hear the words Thomas Voss? Yes. Great guy, does a phenomenal job running the show here for the ADAC. The Director of Motorsport, to give him his correct title, presents the second place trophies to Leighton Fury and Tim Zimmerman. third place trophies to Nico Handke and Denis Bulatov. Great outlines of the circuit. And I was one for the team as well, of course. And then for FAC Autotech, Alex FAC and Alexander Schwarzer to go with the 4 trophies that they took away with them yesterday. How big must their trophy room be? Certainly Alex FAC's got a fair few, hasn't he? The winners of the Pro-Am, Thomas Voss. We'll present them to them. Congratulates them. And they winning the Pro-Am Championship for the 2nd year running.
Yeah, it's been a great return for FAC, hasn't it? A long time away from the championship. Came back last year, won it again this year. Maybe going for the hat-trick. And as you've said a few times, it's been good to see the progress of Alex Schwarzer as well. We know what talent Alex FAC is. Now they get to celebrate with champagne at the end of the podium for the 12th race of the season. Smiles all round, some happy drivers, a very, very happy team out, and a strong way to end the season in what's probably been the best weather they've endured all weekend.
Yes, yeah, it's been lashing it down for much of the weekend, and they've had the challenges thrown at them in qualifying sessions. It's been quite a season. I'm trying to thinking back at the highlights as the champagne has still been flung around. I'm looking back at some of the highlights. There have been many. The endurance racing has been spectacular as well. The visit to the Salzburg Ring was something quite unique. I'm very excited that we're going to be going back there again next year. Just so many good things that have happened in the ADAC GT Masters. We're having another look at the 3rd place finishers at the moment because we're hoping we're going to be bringing you the championship podium in just a few moments. So 3rd place, Denis Bulatov, Nico Handke for Scherer Sport PHX, the team that have risen from Phoenix Racing, situated just over the road from the Nürburgring. FK Performance Motorsport, they know how to prepare a BMW, don't they? And Tim Zimmerman and Leighton Furry know how to drive one. But another team based just over the road from the Nürburgring in the industrial estate, Team HRT, fielding 3 Ford Mustangs, and one of them has come home as the champion, winning this race, winning the championship. Finn Wiebelhaus and Salmon Ovega.
And for Haupt, 3 consecutive Teams Championship titles now in the ADAC GT Masters. Teams champions in 2023. They also finished 2nd in the Drivers' Championship that year with Ralph Aron and Alan Valente. Last year, Teams champions and 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, and Teams champions and Drivers' champions this year. So HRT becoming the team to beat in GT Masters racing. So there we now have the national anthem.
The 1-2-3 in the championship, having a lot of resemblance to the 1-2-3 in the race that we've just watched. So, brilliant stuff. Your brand new champions. Last year, it was Tom Callender and Elias Seppänen who took the championship in the ADAC GT Masters. Elias Seppänen becoming the first driver ever to win back-to-back championships. Salmon Ovega, a very rare club of drivers to have won 2 championships in the ADAC GT Masters. Tim Zimmerman came into the season with 56 ADAC GT Masters races under his belt, but not a single one in a BMW. Furry, on the other hand, started many races in a BMW, but not a single one in a GT3 car. And now they come home 2nd in the championship. There have only been 4 two-times champions up until now. Sebastian Asch, Kelvin van der Linde, Christopher Mies and Elias Seppänen. And now Salmon Ovega joins that club as the 5th member, having secured that championship along with Finn Wiebelhaus with 1 race to spare. What a great display What a great way to conclude season 2025 for the ADAC GT Masters. I do hope you've enjoyed it. We started at the Ring. We headed to Zandvoort in the Netherlands. We went to the Nürburgring for a second endurance race. We went to the mountains, the Salzburgring, the Red Bull Ring, and we ended at the Hockenheimring. It has been a truly spectacular season, hasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, very good. And it's good to see these young drivers coming through now, and we've seen lots of them in recent times and over the years come up through GT Masters Championship racing and then go on to race on the international stage, even reaching the dizzying heights of DTM. You've got drivers like Jugun on now competing very successfully in the DTM. So who knows what awaits the future, but it's been a really good season in 2025.
12 races over in ADAC GT Masters. I do hope you've enjoyed season 2025. From myself, Brian Oliver, and Chris Hartley, we look forward to doing it all again next year. We'll see you at the Red Bull Ring in April. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Closed. The number 16 car, a Dennis Ball.
So, und jetzt ist der Moment da, wo wir die Champions im ADAC GT Masters 2025 ehren wollen. Das Ganze präsentiert von Ramelow. Gebt nochmal einen großen Applaus für die Sieger, für Finn Biblas und Salman Omega. Und
ist was da drin. Haben wir noch eine?
Where the championship's already been.
Very last time this season, Cotto.
For HRT.
Sector
To come, Nathan Fury looking further back.
and in fact, it's closed. ADAC GT Masters. We are go. The car's ran out. And he's given the squeeze. Look at this side by side. Pulling out right in front. And really good close racing. Wonderful stuff.